Welcome to StopFake, the place where we debunk disinformation about Ukraine and set the record straight. I'm Marko Suprun with this week's dissection of Russian disinformation. Among the stories we examine this week, Russian deported journalist and her alternative fact stories, Ukraine, a U.S. biological testing site, and Glory to Ukraine is a Nazi greeting. This week, Ukraine's security service deported Russian state TV Первый канал journalist Anna Kurbatova and banned her for 3 years amidst accusations of biased coverage. SBU spokeswoman Olena Hitlyanska said the decision was taken because Kurbatova's actions harmed Ukraine's national interests. But the OSCE representative on freedom of the media, Harlem Desir, called the move excessive and said such actions, quote-unquote, affect the free flow of information and violate OSCE commitments on freedom of the media. Now, StopFake looked at Kurbatova's last story about Ukrainian Independence Day and uncovered fakes, alternative facts, manipulation, and hate-mongering. She calls the military parade a march of dependency, mocks the soldiers' uniforms, and claims they were marching out of step. She calls the war in Donbass a civil war and bemoans the sorry state of Ukraine, claiming this is all the result of the Maidan protests. The country is in a deep economic crisis and the IMF is really calling the shots, she declares. Ukraine's independence is a failure. The country is miserable without Russia. Kurbatova continues. Kyiv destroyed its aviation industry just to cut ties with Russia and now builds cheap spectacles and umbrellas for the EU. Here she is referring to Ukraine's Antonov Aviation Company, which Russian media regularly report is closing, but which continues to build airplanes. Kurbatova also buries Ukraine's Yuzhmash rocket company, claiming it is shut down. The company, however, continues to operate. Now, Russian Channel 1's program devoted to Kurbatova's deportation was no less propagandistic. Entitled, "Why is Ukraine Afraid of Journalists?" the show claimed that Russian journalists can't get accreditation in Ukraine. But this is complete nonsense, because Ukraine abolished accreditation for foreign journalists in 2011. Scores of Russian media disseminated stories this week claiming the U.S. is conducting secret biological experiments in Ukraine, causing some of the recent disease outbreaks in the country. All the publications use the same source for this fake story, the hacker group Cyber-Berkut. Now, StopFake has debunked similar fakes and repeatedly pointed out that information distributed by Cyber-Berkut is completely unreliable. Some Russian websites pointed to global research claiming the Pentagon is unleashing biological weapons in Europe and quoted UNICEF Ukraine representative Joanna Barbaras speaking about a measles outbreak, implying that the two were secretly connected. According to Barbaras, the recent measles outbreak in Ukraine has nothing to do with biological weapons. It happened because parents have not vaccinated their children against the disease. StopFake has pointed out on numerous occasions that global research is not a real news site, but rather a factory of fakes specializing in conspiracy theories. The Cyber-Berkut story, on the other hand, is filled with innuendo and unsubstantiated claims about U.S. military intelligence running biological weapons labs in Ukraine. The story refers to emails from a Dr. Elliot Perlman, head of the International HIV, AIDS, and TB Institute, implying that he is somehow involved in these activities. Elliot Perlman is a former U.S. Army doctor who has lived in Ukraine since 1991. His activities with HIV and TB prevention are completely open and accessible on his NGO's website. Cyber-Berkut also claims that one of the companies running these alleged secret laboratories is Black & Veatch, a global consulting company specializing in infrastructure development. Black & Veatch was awarded a U.S. Defense Threat Reduction Agency contract to help Ukraine enhance its capacity to detect and respond to infectious disease outbreaks and has built a state-of-the-art diagnostics laboratory in Odessa. In 2005, Ukraine's Health Ministry and the U.S. Department of Defense signed a cooperation agreement aimed to prevent the spread of pathogens, technology, and expertise that could be used in the development of biological weapons. As a result, many Ukrainian laboratories were overhauled and modernized. The labs are completely open and transparent, as is the work that is conducted there. Russian propagandist site RT, formerly Russia Today, published a story claiming that the Ukrainian popular greeting, Glory to Ukraine, is a well-known slogan used by World War II Nazi collaborators. This greeting, in fact, came into use well before World War II and became popular again in Ukraine after the 2013-2014 Maidan protests. RT's story appeared after German Foreign Minister Sigmar Gabriel greeted Ukraine on its Independence Day in a tweet that ended with "Glory to Ukraine." RT claims the tweet brought on a veil of protests as it is quote-unquote an infamous slogan used by the Ukrainian Insurgent Army, a nationalist paramilitary group that actively collaborated with the Nazis in World War II and was under the political leadership of the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists led by Stepan Bandera. The protests that RT uses to illustrate its claim are all from Russian accounts, and they are filled with reposts of conspiracy theory tweets and pro-Russian propaganda. Now, according to historians, "Glory to Ukraine" was first used as a greeting in 1919 among partisans resisting the Bolshevik invasion of Ukraine. Later, Ukrainian National Republic cavalry regiments took up the phrase, as did the Hetmanat, independent Ukrainian states that were defeated by the Bolsheviks. The greeting became an official Ukrainian nationalist slogan only in 1941 when the response to the hero's glory was added. The greeting became mainstream after the Maidan Revolution, and today it is used as a patriotic greeting and a sign of support for Ukraine. That's it for this week. You can find much more dissected disinformation as well as useful tools for spotting fakes on the StopFake website. Be vigilant, look out for disinformation, and if you spot any fakes about Ukraine, send them to us for a truth autopsy. I'm Marko Suprun. This is StopFake. Thanks for watching.